is such a special place. You can be from anywhere in the world and you'll be welcomed with open arms.
This is it. This is the end, my friend.
Only for this one.
Only for this, yeah. We'll be back. We'll be back.
Is this it? We started.
Yeah, this is how we go now, man. This is just roll with it.
Let's go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Breaking Bread, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of the most exciting and interesting food scene in the UK. We're your hosts as ever. I'm Liam. Sitting next to me is Carl.
Hello. There you go. I haven't done that one.
No, you haven't. That's a new one, that is. That is a new one. And we haven't done about 10 intros for once, so I can genuinely ask you, how's things, man?
I know, yeah. It's out of the blue. I've done this one for a few weeks. Yeah,
No.
It's good. It's good.
Well, I think it'd be a good time to say why we haven't done it. Is because we were hoping to be launching our merch by now.
Yeah, we thought we'd have our t-shirts done by now.
Yeah, that's nobody's fault but our own.
Yeah, that's our fault.
Yeah, we'll get round to it. Keep an eye out for that. Follow us on socials and everything.
Yeah, you'll see our t-shirts out soon. They're going to look absolutely banging,
Yeah.
man. The
If you like
designs
our-
we've got, like,
Yeah. If you like our logo, that's the same artist who done that. So keep an eye out for that. In this episode, well away to finish this season of Breaking Bread.
it almost finishes where it probably should have started.
It definitely finishes where that's a great way of putting it. You know, I think actually in my very first podcast I recorded, this was before it was two of us, and it was with the Brownie Bus Ollie. He recommended straight away. He's like, you know, if you're doing a podcast about food in Birmingham, you've got to speak to Lewis Walker, Chef Lewis Walker from UCB. Like, there would be no food scene in Birmingham if it wasn't for this guy. He's an absolute legend. And then how many people have said it since? You know, I remember we done the episode with the Pizza lads. They told us about him. It's been a long time coming.
He's one of the people, along with Luke Tipping, that's come up the most when we've been talking to people. His name just keeps coming up.
Keeps coming on.
We eventually got him nailed down.
Yeah, man. I say it in the episode. I really don't think it's any coincidence that Birmingham has such a mega food scene and such an awesome establishment, food college like UCB. It can't be a coincidence, man.
Of course it's not.
When you see the list of names that come through there, it's phenomenal, man. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
And so in this episode, we go deep, man. We get into obviously Lewis's story about where he come from and stuff, but mostly we focus on the college, chefs coming through, advice for young chefs, like what to look out for in new chefs coming through, and whether you can really spot when someone's going to make it or not. You know, we get into that as well, which I thought was interesting. And also a big one is, can common sense be taught? that was excellent. That was, I mean, he's such an astute guy that his answers, there's no like rushed. He thinks about everything and answers everything full on. So you just learn so much from it. I mean, he is a teacher.
That's it.
Obviously.
It didn't feel like he was teaching either. It just felt like you were just naturally learning all this like great information and then just giving it away.
Yeah.
Felt like you should have been paying him to give us this sort of information.
Yeah, we should have been paying to do the college course.
Yeah.
So before we learn all about Lewis and UCB, I'd like to start by thanking our sponsors who made this whole season possible, the recording. Obviously, if you've only ever listened to us, you might not realise, but all of these episodes we film now, you can watch the whole interview on, I know you said live, we're not that stupid. We don't do it live. We can watch them all on YouTube. Links for that, obviously, in our show notes. So massive thanks, firstly, to our first ever sponsor, Burning Barn Rum. Awesome craft rum, created locally in the West Midlands. I mean, excellent rums. You love the taste of the rums.
I'm a big rum fan, and that's a great rum.
Yeah. So,
It really is.
I mean, first and foremost, the fact that it's a good rum, that's a good start. But then their story as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, go back to our first episode of this season. That's that episode with Harry from Burning Barn Rum. Absolutely love those guys. If you're a local bar and you're not stuck in them, I'd want to know why, because their story is incredible. And if you would like to, links for them are in our show notes, as are links to our next sponsor. Massive thank you to Easy Food. It's the new food delivery app, obviously part of the old Easy Stelios family, taking on the giants of the food delivery app world. They're on a mission to save food delivery businesses money. They want to give you back more of your well-earned money. You work so hard for it. Why give it away to these big apps who charge a stupid percentage? Easy food, it's easy. There's local reps. You get full-on support from Harm. Big fans of Harm as well. That's our second episode of this whole season. Go back and listen to that. So that said, thanks again for all their support. Thank you to you guys for listening and watching. Hopefully you've followed every episode and you've really enjoyed them. It's been a year in the making. It's been a lot harder.
It's been a year.
Yeah.
Literally.
But we've absolutely, I say we, I mean, I've absolutely loved it.
Oh, no, you talk for me there. That's easy. It's been great.
Yeah.
And the feedback, just people coming up to us, telling us and messaging us. It's been incredible. So good.
Yeah. So obviously without you guys watching, listening, this wouldn't happen. And we really appreciate it. Obviously, massive thank you to all our guests this season as well. There'd be no podcast without you. So.
No, it'd just be us talking.
It'd just be us talking and no one wants to see just us talking. Yeah. So obviously, if you do enjoy it, like, subscribe, wherever you get your podcasts or watch your podcasts, wherever that may be, however you can rate us, that would really help us push the positive Birmingham message. There's a bit of negativity lately about the food scene in Birmingham. There's been some big closures and it hits us. It hits us hard. We've both been gutted about that. So we're kind of here to try and promote the people still doing awesome stuff, and there's still loads of them.
Yeah, it's loads.
There's still plenty of them. So
loads.
help us support them by shouting loud. Tell a friend in real life about the podcast, because most of our listens, I think, do come from word of mouth. I feel like every time we get chatting to someone, meet someone new, they say, we've spoke to this friend about you guys, and it's really nice. So I'm nearly finished. And we didn't even talk about where we're going to eat. Where have we been eating lately?
Oh, I can't not bring up.
Yeah, we've got to talk about probably like two of our best meals we've saved till last.
Yeah. Oh, it was incredible.
You can go for it. I can see you bursting to get started.
I've told anyone that will listen to get themselves to OPM while they can and get the special burger that's on at the moment. It's got fried mortadella, homemade sauerkraut, 2 types of cheese. I think it's got mustard mayo on, a patty. It's absolutely phenomenal. I think it's going to be, even if I'm doing a top 3, I think it'll be one of the top 3 things I've eaten this year.
Right. Considering how much we both eat, that's some compliment, man.
I mean, we'll see, but I mean, it was incredible. One of them things where you take a bite and you're like, nah, it can't be that good. And then you take another bite and you're like, oh, yeah, it is. I think I don't often message you straight away having eaten something, but I was like, Liam, you got to eat this.
Yeah, and then my favourite bit was that he messaged me the next morning and said, I've slept on it. It's definitely the best burger I've ever had.
I have to sleep on decisions like that. I can't just boldly be saying it's one of the best things I've eaten. I've got to have a think about it.
That's my first message of the morning was Carl telling me about the best. And do you know what? It's horrible because all I can think of all day then is like, how am I going to get up to OPM? How am I going to get up there? I don't know how long it's on for.
It might not even be on anymore for all I know.
Oh, nightmare.
I would hope so. Oh, man, it was good.
Oh.
What about yourself?
Where have I been eating, mate? I went to Trapaya. We went there a couple of Christmases ago. It was like we do like a break of red Christmas meal thing. And we chose Trapaya. Did not regret it. Seen Conrad and Joe raving about it all the time. Jealous that I live round the corner from it.
Yeah.
And now I'm even more jealous having gone back. It's such a great place. You're going in a couple of weeks.
I'm going in a couple of weeks. Yeah, I can't wait. After the first visit there, I was like, I've got to come back here. Problem is, it's really far for us.
Yeah, Harborne is a bit of a mission for us, but it's worth the trip. It's 100% worth the trip.
Yeah, I can't wait to go. What you have that was good?
It's all of it. Do you know, it's weird because I don't know how they do food. So simple, but so like delicious. But also, it still feels like a special occasion. It feels like a neighborhood Italian eatery.
Yeah.
But special, not like you would still go there for like a special birthday.
Because you've been there since it's been done up as well, haven't you?
Yeah, and it's even smarter now. You know, the bar area is fantastic. It was long overdue, really. It was a bit stuck in, shoehorned into the space, and now it feels like something you can relax a bit now. I mean, I was saying you can have a few of the the plates just sat at the bar with a few drinks after work or something like that. It's a nice touch, that is. Yeah. I'll tell you what, though. I mean, everything we ate was fantastic. And you know how you do it. You choose like quite a few plates.
Yeah, we do.
Do way more than they tell you to order
Yeah.
if you're us.
Yeah.
And get through them. But the butternut squash, arancini, fantastic. But the star, the monk, like same as you, we're thinking about our dishes of the year now. But that monkfish tail on the bone, it was cooked obviously over coal on the barbecue. You could get just a tad smokiness, nothing too overpowering. I just don't know why it was so good. But I just wanted, like my wife, I was gutted when I had to share it. That's the only problem. It's a sharing place, and I was like, I don't want to share this. But you know, everything was fantastic. The pig cheek, you know, me and pig, like anything pig.
Any cheek.
Pork cheek.
Any cheek will do me.
Normally that's the star, but for me, the monkfish just overdone it. Like.
It must have got if it overtook some cheeks.
Yeah. I can't fault it. I love that place. I'm kind of glad it's not anywhere close by because I would be there weekly.
Probably makes it a bit more special when you do go as well.
Yeah. But no, I tell them half. They're doing amazing things. Keep an eye out for our Christmas special.
Yeah, Christmas special coming. Might have some special guests on to help
Hopefully
us talk about the year.
We're going to do a little review of our year and talk about our 3 best dishes from the year. It's going to be fun. It's going to be mayhem. It's going to be a nightmare to edit, but
yep.
I'm looking forward to it, man. Yeah. So I've said it all. Thanks for everything. Enjoyed this episode with the legend that is Chef Lewis Walker from the awesome University of Birmingham. Enjoy. Chef, thanks for inviting us up to UCB Restaurant.
Thank you.
It's weird being in here now with nobody here.
Yeah.
We were here on the dinners last year and it was so busy and bustling and it just feels so calm now.
It's strange, you know, it's this time of year, obviously, when we're in kind of shutdown now, it's summer, all the students away. It's a nice time for us to do things like maintenance, repairs, to catch up on things around the building, to look at the facilities, look at the resources. I actually quite like it when it's like this because you do get to see it as a blank canvas and you get to see it very clean, very tidy. Is everything in order? Is everything working? But there is nothing better than when it's alive and when it's going. It's always that kind of first couple of weeks of September, first couple of weeks of October when all the students come in. It's really buzzing. There's this real sort of vibe about the place, and it never looks better or feels better when it's rammed and it's all happening. But it's also quite nice when it's quiet. So yeah, it's nice time of year.
Yeah, I like how we're sitting here and we talked about earlier. You can sort of see how this is a classroom as well now, that it's not set up for dining at the moment.
It's what we're all about. I mean, every area in every building, give or take, apart from a few commercial areas, is essentially a training area, whether that's in the college food, whether that's in aviation, sports, hair and beauty, business, whatever the area is that we're in. They are all training facilities. It's all for the students. It's all for learning. We call these our realistic working environments. So whilst it might be the plain fuselage that we've got on the 9th floor or the gym over in Moss House or the beauty salons here in Summer Row, all our training kitchens, bakeries, restaurant, they're almost like realistic environments like you find in industry, but they are training restaurants. So it's that nice balance.
Because this is open to the public as well, isn't it? As an actual restaurant. Was it Friday?
Yeah, and Monday to Friday. So as a restaurant, during term time, we're a public-facing restaurant. We're open Monday to Friday, lunch and dinner. You book through Open Table like any other restaurant of any other guests, any other customers. And yeah, it is entirely public-facing, which is good because you get that real interaction. You get some real good feedback. People come in, they know it's a training restaurant. They know it's a college. University, they know they're getting served or cooked for by students. So I think there's a little bit of acceptance, a little bit of understanding if things occasionally go a little bit awry. But the expectation of customers is still value for money, good food, an enjoyable experience. And I think the expectation and standards of certainly myself and Callie, my counterpart, and also all of the team here is that our standards are industry standards. So we don't want to drop our guard at all.
Yeah, if it's a restaurant on lunchtime and for dinner service or early dinner service, when's the classes for the students?
That is the class.
That's the class itself.
So what would ordinarily happen? So if we took the restaurant, for example, lunch is 12 till 2, dinner's 6 till 9, give or take. but we'd be in here from 9 a.m. or from 3 p.m. setting up, going through the skills. So for instance, if they're in the restaurant, they'll be learning about laying tables, learning about how to take orders, about how to use the till, about how to make drinks, about how to serve, whether that's very contemporary service or whether that's a bit more classic silver service. If they're in the restaurant out the back, they're learning the dishes, they're learning the recipes, they're learning from the lecturers. It's really kind of happening and on point learning environment. It's a little bit different in some of the lecture theatres and kitchens throughout the building. It's a bit more controlled. There's not that live element to it, but everything that we do is a learning environment. So it's always, they're always learning. We're always teaching. It's good. It's busy. There's
that's the only way I ever learn anything is by actually doing it.
Yeah, well, it's exactly right, guys. Exactly right. That's exactly what we see it as. If they're there doing it, customer facing, on the shop floor, actually doing it, there's no better way of learning. We're very lucky here at University College Birmingham with the facilities that we've got, with the resources we've got. College Food has always had that benchmark of great resources, and the students and staff here, we're really lucky to have a restaurant like this, which is open, it is customer facing, it is public, it is live, and we have the opportunity to put into practice what we do. So we're very conscious of how lucky we are, but we make sure that that's valued.
The hardest element, I think, of hospitality is the unpredictability of humans and obviously customers. Do you still get that, or is it just
100%.
Complete? Yeah, you do.
100%.
Because I personally, I'd be like, I'm very sympathetic anyway, because I've been in the industry, I've been in their shoes, I understand, but not everyone has. And for me, I would be like, oh, they're only learning, just give them a break, But I suppose not everyone's like that.
100%. And we, I would say, 90-95% of the people we get through the door, they know it's a training restaurant. They understand hospitality. Even if it's not a training restaurant and you go to a bar, a restaurant, a pub, a cafe, or whatever, I think those people that do work in hospitality understand it. You are always that much more forgiving to the staff, but often a bit more critical to the eye, because you see things. So when I go to a restaurant, I see things and I'm like, that shouldn't happen, or you shouldn't be doing that, because I'm kind of seeing it through a hospitality eye. But you're a little bit more forgiving because you know that things can go awry. Yeah, occasionally we'll get customers that come in here that have very high expectations. They might not be as compliant or, forgiving, but listen, on the whole, 99% of the time, they're brilliant. We have some great customers coming in. We have some lovely regulars. We have quite a lot of regulars come in for lunch very often. We have people that come back for dinner very often with family, friends, partners. We have a lot of commercial and business clients that will come here for business meeting, business lunches, because they know it's a nice environment. They can sit and have a chat. It's relatively discreet. You can talk. We get a really nice mixed bag of customers, actually. Anyone from coming in for a nice casual lunch with friends, all the way up to date night or special occasions.
On the flip side of that, you must be quite glad as well that it's not all just really nice customers, because otherwise,
well, how do you learn, right?
You're not going to know.
Yeah. If it all goes smoothly all the time, you don't get challenged. How do you learn? No, absolutely. And that is one of the things that our students learn, is how to deal with difficult customers, how to go into hospitality and maybe give some responses to criticism, or to deal with maybe an awkward question, or how to handle something when it goes wrong. It's not unheard of for food to go out and say, maybe, this steak's a bit overcooked. Could you send it back? No problem. We'll deal with that, madam. That's absolutely fine. We'll go back. The food's a bit cold. Absolutely not a problem. We're going to fix that. And then they can then learn how to communicate with the kitchen as well. So that when they go back in, we've got the student chefs in there, and there's none of that shouting. Or as you can imagine, we work very hard. We have worked very hard over the years. And I suppose the generations of students to really move away from that brash, authoritarian kind of brutality of what hospitality is often seen as. And it does still get that reputation, the old Gordon Ramsay effect, if you like, the shouting and the blaring and the battle between front of house and back of house. We work really, really hard to mute that and hopefully create professionals, leaders, and managers of the future that are more understanding, they're a little bit more empathetic, they're a lot more supportive, a lot more nurturing. Because that is really what we want to produce, leaders, managers of the future of hospitality. And if they don't have that ability to practice how to be understanding, empathetic, compassionate, and work as a team, it's not good for the industry.
Who wants to work in that angle?
Who wants to work there? Yeah.
We need more people in the industry, not less.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I presume they're sort of forewarned that when you go out into the workplace, when you leave here, you may well come across this type of atmosphere, though.
Absolutely. And we work very hard in terms of employment preparation, career guidance. So we're a vocational college and university. We're all about those vocational courses. It's all about going directly into careers. And our biggest quality metrics, if you like, or our biggest achievement is to get students into the workplace, whether that's the college students that are going straight out maybe into more operational roles, or the degree students that might go out into more managerial roles. We need to prepare them for that. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to let them know what the workplace is like, how to communicate with people, how to deal with work-life balance, how to deal with mental health in the workplace, what are the things that inspire them, what are the drivers that make them tick at work. So yeah, a huge amount of it's not just the employment skills that we're providing, it's that life preparation, workplace preparation, because it is, it's a tough industry to work in. It's a service industry, and most of the industries that we produce graduates for are service industries, but hospitality is still servient, and you're there to provide an experience, a service, and it doesn't always go right. It's teaching people how to deal with that, which isn't always easy.
How angry do you get at like programs like Bear, which has become real popular, and obviously that's the main entertainment is the fact that you've got Richie and his cousin going nose to nose, shouting at each other all the time.
Listen, I'm not going to say the whole industry is peachy. It is brutal and brash out there. There are still some real arseholes out there in the industry. Do you know what I mean? There are.
There is in
every industry, right? There is in every walk of life. And I think the industry is working really hard to sort of mitigate against that. But undoubtedly, there are still some challenging leaders in hospitality. And that is portrayed very well in series, whether it's Boiling Point, whether it's Bear, whether it's, Kitchen Nightmares, whatever it is. It makes great telly because people want to watch that. Nobody wants to watch a lovely service, nobody wants to watch everybody just getting on. Everybody makes great entertainment. And I think we have to work on that as an industry, as a hospitality industry. And I sort of sit in both education and hospitality, which is great. But as an industry, we do need to encourage recruitment. Exactly like you said, we need to encourage more people to come into the industry for its sustainability and its continuity. And it's programs like that maybe do give it a bad rap. So I get frustrated with that because parents will watch that, kids will watch that, careers advisors will watch that. Oof, we don't want to go and be a chef. Oh, look what you got to do. Oh, God, never do that. Is it representative of the industry? Potentially, some areas of it. Is that the image that we want to portray? Probably not. Does it make great telly? Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
So we've kind of gone like really deep into this place, but we want to get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah.
So did you grow up around Birmingham? Are you from Birmingham? Or?
No, I'm a Reading boy, actually. I've had a colourful journey to Birmingham. London born and then moved to Reading quite young. Went through the whole school and college system in Reading. Lived there with a family, grew up there. Reading's always home. Went backpacking over a couple of year period in my sort of early 20s. Got a job in Australia in a kitchen. Well, I got a job in a cafe as a pot wash to start with. It's a great story. It's Gabby's Cafe in Bondi Beach. I've been backpacking. I've been traveling for a few years. It was a great time of life. It was the late 90s. Thought I'd stay there for a while. Was looking for work. Went into this cafe. Went up and down the promenade of Bondi looking for work. Couldn't find anything. Went into this cafe. I said, have you got any summer work? I can do anything really. I said, I'm sorry, mate. We just don't have anything. We rammed. Just as the pot wash came flying out of the kitchen, effing and blinding, throwing his apron over his shoulder, resigning in the most colourful way. And he turned to me and said, do you want to be a pot wash? I said, can you start now? I said, yeah, great, no problem. That lasted a couple of weeks until just jumped on the stoves, helping out. And then, spent a year in Bondi and Sydney cooking, a couple of different places, which was brilliant. Finished off travelling, came back to Reading, moved down to Cornwall very quickly, down to Perranporth. Got a job down there in the watering hole in Perranporth, which is great pub right on the beach. Again, very sort of idyllic, surfy beach life.
Did you have an interest in food before you took on the cooking jobs?
Yeah, always loved food. Food played a big part in travelling. We did a lot of sort of food tours while we were travelling. Always cooked a lot at home. Always had an interest in food. Was a bit picky, I'd say, as a young kid. You ask my mum. My mum's going to watch this. She's like, you hated food as a kid. But no, always quite picky as a kid. But then as you grow up, your tastes change. But always loved food. Always loved going out. Always loved restaurants, hospitality. From Cornwall, then the Lake District. Did a year up there in a hotel up there. Went and stopped up there, which was great. Very, very different. Going from a very busy beachside pub in Cornwall up to quite an austere hotel in Keswick in the Lake District, in the middle of nowhere. Very different. But again, working as a chef, enjoyed it. It was great. And so then I was in my kind of early 20s, never gone to uni, never done the uni thing, never been a student. I'd always worked. And for one reason or another, I thought, well, quite fancy going to uni now. That might be my next journey. Let's do that. And working, like I said, working as a chef in a hotel, and looked around, found this culinary arts course, but it was called Professional Culinary Arts at the time, at Birmingham College of Food, Tourism and Creative Studies, which I came to here. And that was 01, I think, 01, early 02. Did a couple of years here and just stayed in Birmingham, got jobs in various different places. So I did a couple of years here to do a degree, went off into industry, and then I've stayed ever since. And then many years later, met the wife, settled, job here, and stayed ever since. And probably not planning to go anywhere outside of Birmingham in the near future, touch wood. So yeah, not a Brummie.
Well, yeah, I would say you are a Brummie, but not from Birmingham.
Married a Brummie and made some Brummies, so here I am. Yeah.
Definitely an honorary Brummie. I think anyone who comes here, whether it's for 5 minutes or 10 years, and does contribute something to whatever we've got in this city, then I think that classifies you as a Brummie.
I love Birmingham. I do. I suppose in the 90s in Birmingham, we used to come club it up here in the 90s from Reading. Some great clubs up here. But Birmingham had always, it was kind of, Spaghetti Junction and, the old library, and, wasn't really on the map, wasn't really on the radar. And even when I moved up here, a few people were like, "You're going to Birmingham, you need to go to London or something like that." But since then, in the 20 years now I've been here, 20 odd years, I've just seen it grow, particularly the city centre and some of the great suburbs we've got around Digbeth, all the areas, all the little burbs around, just grown and grown and grown. But the city centre around here, I love it. I think it's a fantastic city now, not just for the food scene, because obviously it has got a great food scene, whether that's independent, Michelin, high street, chains, whatever. A great array of different types of cuisines, nationalities, cultures, styles of food. And it's not just that food culture, but Birmingham's just got this great identity in itself. And I don't think I've met cities where people are so Brummie, if that makes sense. There's a real sort of pride in that. So yeah, I love it.
It's weird, this series. I love the series. You'd expect everyone we speak to be from Birmingham. I think this series especially, not many people have been from Birmingham. I don't know.
Maybe that's a testament to the city.
Yeah.
And do you know what? A lot of people that I was at when I came to study here, like I said, 20 odd years ago, are still here. And maybe that's a testament to the city that we've stayed and made lives and set up careers. So yeah, I think Birmingham has got huge growth opportunity. I see it now as an international city. It's certainly a cultural city. It's got its finance, it's got its commerce, it's got its business, it's got its industries, it's got its foundations, and it's growing. And I'm pleased to say that food's a big part of that, because it's a really cool food city.
I always say I don't think it's a coincidence that we have got such a great food scene, as well as a really top class facility like the college here. If you look at some of the chefs that we've spoke to on the podcast, and just the amount of more Michelin star restaurants outside London than any other city, that can't be a coincidence that when you've got this on the doorstep.
Yeah, that is. We have got the most Michelin stars in any city outside of London. I mean, London's a whole different.
It's ridiculous.
You have to take that out of the equation completely.
Yeah, you're tripping over Michelin stars.
Yeah. They're just dripping from the pavements. And it's lovely that Birmingham can say that we have the most. I know Akhtar now says he's got more than Manchester in himself. And we have such great links or parts to play in that Michelin scene, which is brilliant, which is lovely. And it's that great aspirational piece about the Michelin scene in Birmingham, the Michelin chefs. But it's not just that Michelin. And I always say that. I always say that to prospective students and parents, colleagues, stakeholders, whatever. The Michelin scene in Birmingham and the wider area is fantastic. And we are part of that, and we are proud of that. But it's such a small percentage of what the industry is. It's like Premiership footballers. It's like 5% of the industry, but there's thousands of people that play football. Michelin is such a small percentage of the hospitality industry. It represents such a high standard and is aspirational for people to get into. I'd say 90% of our students go out and work in just really good restaurants, just as chefs, as industry chefs, working day in, day out, as great chefs doing. We were talking about that before, about it's great to see our students and our graduates go out and work in Michelin or even become Michelin themselves. But for me, as long as they're going out, they remember what we taught them. They do a good job. They work clean. They work tidy. They work professionally. They cook produce to the best of its flavour and its potential. Cook great food. Serve it very well. Create a great experience. But hold on to that love of food. As long as everybody going out still likes cooking food. But that could be in, like I said, in a street food joint. It could be in a Nando's. It could be in a hospital, in a school, wherever. Institutional coaching, wherever our students end up. As long as what they're doing, they enjoy what they're doing, they do it professionally, and they love food. It doesn't matter how many stars you've got.
Yeah, that's true. So look at Bonehead, how much we love Bonehead's one of our favourite places.
It's never going to get a star. It should have a star. Anyways, everyone, that should have.
There's places all around the world.
Just off food.
Yeah, there's places all around the world that it doesn't have to be that sort of arty, glitzy, beautiful plates of food that get Michelin. It's just really down to a level of quality. And for me, it's always about experience as well. You can go to some fantastically beautiful restaurants that do the most elegantly creative and fantastic. You go to Simpsons, you go to Panel's, you go to Adams, you get this, this art on a plate. You go to somewhere like the Wilderness or Albatross, or you get this very creative, very artistic, very different approach to food. You go to somewhere like Bonehead and you get a big lump of deep fried chicken, crispy chicken, but it can be the best chicken you've had. Do you know what I mean? But it's about the experience. It might be who you're with. It might be what the music's playing. It might be how you're feeling about being in there. And sometimes you can feel just as great being in a cool pizzeria in Digbeth as you do being in a Michelin star restaurant in Edgbaston. I think it's about that experience and about how you're sharing that.
We've all got them kind of like soft spots, like Toby Carvery. Yeah. We didn't go out for food very often in our family. So when we did, it was like a special occasion, and it was usually a Toby Carvery or a 2 for 1. And even now, they're kind of rubbish. Yeah. But still, there's like a warm feeling just because it brings back old memories.
Yeah, they serve a purpose, and I think all restaurants do. Toby Carvery, people love Toby Carvery, and I'm always very conscious as well. I never want to be a food snob, right? It's horses for courses. Someone like a Toby Carvery does a very good job for what they do, for the market that they serve, and for what the value for money you get. It hits the spot. It's about that comfort feeling, and it's about where you go to eat, to feel comfortable, to feel welcome, to enjoy the food. It's just whatever floats your boat, and not everybody aspires to have that amazing food. For some people, food is just sustenance. I know a lot of people that really don't care about that incredible plate of food. They just eat for protein. Just eat because
they have to.
You just put petrol in the car, right? You put food in the body. So it's not always for everyone, and you've got to be conscious of that and not be too judgmental on somebody that eats somewhere that is just for sustenance. So I'm always very conscious of that, but obviously, luckily, we know a good place where we see it.
There's like I don't know if you're aware of it, but there is a little bit of a kind of, I don't know if debates is too strong a word, about whether you should do some formal training if you would like to go into the industry. Some people say not to, and it's better to come in fresh and without that kind of hindrance. I think that's nonsense. I feel like if you come to somewhere like this, you're kind of starting off on a better footing. I think I've mentioned this every episode now, but I went to train as a chef, and I didn't do any formal college work. I just went straight into the kitchen, deep end, and absolutely drowned. Like, it wasn't for me. But half of it was in my mind. I kept thinking, all of these have been to college. They all know a lot more than I do. Yeah. Even if you just come and do the basics, at least you've got that in your locker, and you're not doubting yourself from day one.
There are some fantastic self-trained chefs. There really are. All the way up to, someone like Akhtar, for instance, self-trained, never went to college, 2 Michelin stars, a fantastic cook and a brilliant chef, and a great businessman. He's very unique. There's not thousands of Akhtars running around the city. You do meet some brilliant self-trained chefs, and not everybody needs to go to college. College doesn't fit everybody, or training doesn't fit anybody. It might be their learning style, it might be previous experience, it might be the way in which their brain works, or the way in which they take things on board. Maybe the way that we do things isn't right for them, and just going out there and learning it is the best way. But I really picked up on what you said, and I agree that coming to college or university to do a degree or diploma, whatever, in food, in training, it will give you that base knowledge of food, of flavour, of some of the base sources, the stocks, the preparation methods, the techniques, which can then be adapted so widely across different roles. I think often what you can find, if someone doesn't get that training, they go straight in and work somewhere, and say they work there for 4 or 5 years, they will only know that menu. They will only know those dishes. They'll only know the technique that they do in that kitchen. So then if they leave that job and they go somewhere else, they might not be able to transfer those skills because, I don't know how to make that hollandaise because we used to do it like that there. Can't do it now like this. Or I don't know how to butcher that chicken because we used to buy it in packs, or can't make a stock because we always used to buy it, or whatever it is. You become institutionalized in a place and you do that one thing that one way. That's how they do it. Coming to college or university, you get those transferable skills. It's not just that as well. I think in terms of the skill set, you learn things like communication, employability skills, how to mix with different people, different cultures, different ages. I mean, our student body here is so eclectic from 15, 16 all up to 50, 60 from all over the world, all different backgrounds, all different ambitions. And it's this real kind of mix. And our students learn to operate in that, and they learn to work with other people, and that might give them more confidence, might give them more communication skills, might help them to go out and speak to people from different walks of life or different backgrounds. So it's not just the technical skill development I think you get coming to college. I think it's the whole experience. So yeah, I'm a big advocate of getting formal training, which you can then adapt throughout your career and you can grow throughout your career. However, I do recognise that there are some fantastic self-taught chefs or industry-taught chefs. And all credit to them. You know, it's not easy. Probably a bit more unique than widespread.
So when you get people in, can you tell when someone's going to go on to do great things as a chef?
Not all the time, but you can. So we'll get some come in and you can see it, and they've got this, you know, steely focus, and they're there and they'll listen. They might have a little notebook and they're writing things down. I mean, like I said, we're working with everything from 15, 16-year-old kids all the way up to adults that are coming back in. And for a lot of kids, you know, they're 15, 16-year-olds, they don't focus anywhere. They're just staring at you. But we quickly get them into shape and get them in line. But sometimes you get that one kid that will come in and he or she will be there right at the front. They'll be there early. They're setting up. They're listening. They might mention something about a magazine that they've read or a podcast that they've listened to or a recipe that they've tried. And you're thinking, you're doing stuff outside of the class as well as just in. They're making notes as you're going along. They're trying it, and you know, they're coming up, they're trying your dish and then going back and trying theirs, and you can watch them and there's this focus. And then as it goes on, you can see their plates. I mean, sometimes we've had students come through. Here's a great example of a lad, Nathan Lane. He came through and you'd see him cook. You'd see him cook downstairs in the restaurant, and he'd just have this thing about him, and he's brilliant. There's another lad, Jack Gameson, came through. We taught him all the way from Junior Chefs Academy, which we do, all the way through college. He then went through university. He went on to do some fantastic things with cooking, and he's now a great chef lecturer in his own right. It's a lovely story. So yeah, you do see him. But then on the flip side, sometimes there's ones that surprise you as well. You come in the first couple of months, you're thinking, my goodness.
No chance.
Burning water, you know, and you think, yeah, this isn't going to end well. But they come in, they bed in, they settle, you know, they listen. And I think what's really, really nice is when we have great students here, and then maybe in a few years' time you see them, they've opened up a place, you know, your Stuart Dealey's, your David Taylor's, your, you know, whoever, and then all of a sudden you're like, my God, they made it. That's brilliant. Or you walk into a restaurant and some chefs behind the bar, right, chef, how you doing? You're like, great. You know, you're still doing it. You're still there. You're still working. Obviously, we have some shining stars coming in and out through the doors. And sometimes it's those that might not be the greatest cook, but they have this real passion and they have this real love. And sometimes they go on and do different things in hospitality. They might go on and be a great restaurant manager, or they might go on and do food recruitment, or they might go on and do innovation, whatever. But they've still got that real love for it. So, yeah, we do see some great students come through, which is rewarding.
Do you ever make the chefs come out and do front of house?
Yeah, absolutely. But both levels, further education, higher education, they will predominantly, the chef students, so we have front of house students anyway, yeah, but the chef students will have a stint coming out doing service, which they don't always like the most. But it's really important to see that behind the scenes. The front of house students are always going through into the past, going through into the kitchen, so they see through the past, they see what's happening out there. It's very rare to see it the other way. And I think that's really important so that they can understand what it's like being in front of customers. They can see that finished product on a plate. They can hear reviews about it. They know how to interact. They know some of the challenges that front of house go through. So yeah, we do. We give them an experience of both. It's always important to remember as well, and I always bang on about this as well, we always forget about the bakers as well, because obviously we do fantastic bakers. And our three main areas really, we've got chefs, front of house and bakery. That's kind of like our sort of magic triangle. Chefs, they're always lauded and spoken about from the Birmingham College Food. Fantastic. We do some great chefs. Front of house, we produce some superb restaurant managers, restaurant supervisors, front of house staff, hospitality professionals. But yeah, behind the scenes, we have these sort of unsung heroes of our bakers as well, because they don't have only recently we've got cakes and bakes out of the front of reception where they showcase their products, their bread, their bakes and their cakes. And it's the same for them. We make sure that they get that same industry experience, they get that same opportunity, that same employability. Standards are still as high in our bakery. The output of students, of graduates, is still as high. So yeah, I always like to big up the bakers as well.
Everyone does forget about the bakers and the pastry chefs.
Yeah. They're all tucked away. They're all there late at night when everyone's done and everyone's gone home. Pastry chef's still there, doing the petit fours, cleaning up.
A lot of people we speak to, they struggle when trying to hire people into their restaurants. Have you noticed there's less students now than there was, or is it still the same? There's just lots more restaurants that they go to.
We've still got good numbers. Still enjoying good recruitment on college and university. So we still get good numbers coming in. There has been over recent years this kind of staff shortage in hospitality. I still like to think that it's pretty impossible not to get a job as a chef in Birmingham. If you want to go out there and work, you can go out there and work. If you've got the right attitude, the right CV, you do a good job, you can go and get a job. Bit harder for the bakers. There's less bakery jobs. There's a demand for bakers, but less jobs available. But hospitality is still recruiting very well as long as you get the right candidate, the right attitude, the right approach, and you're willing to work hard at the beginning. You're willing to maybe adapt things a little bit. There are jobs out there. I think, like I said before, we, as this kind of central hub of that in this city, being the Birmingham College Food and being positioned right in the heart of the city as well, we are ideally positioned to kind of support that. And for me, it has always been about getting those guys into jobs. As long as we can train them well, give them a good experience while they're here, but then ultimately get them a job and that they stay in hospitality. That's the main thing.
How did you get into teaching?
Well, another woven path, another colourful story. I had a restaurant in the Arcadian.
Was in your own?
Yeah, well, yeah. So I was with another guy on it, and
what was it called?
It was Apartment 201 in the Arcadian, about 15 years ago. Back in quite a hazy heyday of the Arcadian, which was a good time. It was quite a hedonistic time. It was good. We had a lovely place, and it was going well. We did really well for a good sort of year and a half, 18 months. It was that kind of 08, 07 period of a bit of recession hit. Things weren't going, so it wasn't a deep recession, but a lot of things tightened, a lot of belts got tightened, and we started doing much better on the wet sales. So we'd become kind of like more of a nightclub in the evening. We'd shut down the restaurant a little bit earlier, and things were going well with that. We had a sort of a club night would come in and use the space just to generate a little bit more income because trade was a bit slower. And I looked at it and it was going well there. The guy that was doing it there, he wanted to carry on those nights. We sort of looked at things and I just thought, I don't know. And at the time I'd just started to meet my wife and thinking, do I want to stay as a chef forever? Do I want to stay in, running a restaurant forever? Because it's hard, it's long hours, it's hard work. Spoke to a good pal of mine, Adam. He was already working here as a lecturer. He's still here as a lecturer. And he said, come in, have a look, see what you think. You can do just kind of visiting lecturer, like agency work. So I did a couple of nights. I'd already had my degree from here before, so I went and did a teaching degree with the idea of getting into teaching. I was doing a bit of contract catering at the same time for a great company called Wilson Vale. So it's a bit kind of a disjointed path. Finally, a role came up 14 years ago. Got the job, so I've been 14 years now full time. Started teaching FE college. In fact, my first group, and he always reminds me of this, was with Dan Lee. And he always says he remembers when we first sort of started teaching it up on the 8th floor. And then stayed ever since. So, and then over the years started teaching higher education for a while. Went on a few years later into a senior curriculum leader, then head of higher education, then deputy head, and now head. So never thought of teaching really until I'd spoken to Adam. He said, it's a great job, come and have a look, blah, blah, blah. And just loved it. I just really, really got a lot out of it. It was, we still work in our whites. I'm going to sat with my whites now. I spend a lot of time in the whites. Mine are a lot cleaner than they used to be now. I have to admit, I don't cook as much as I used to. I don't teach as much as I used to, which is, I suppose, the poison chalice of going up into management. I'm not as on the coal face as much in the trenches, as I say. But I do absolutely love teaching. I love watching students develop and grow. It's such a sense of achievement whether it's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years later, when you see somebody come in and then you see them graduate. And then when you see them in a job,
Or on telly.
Or on telly. Yeah, doing really well. And what a place to do it, very fortunate to, I think, and people might watch this from other colleges, universities, whatever, and scoff, but I'd still stand on my soapbox and say it's still the best catering college in the country.
It's the only one I think people have mentioned when talking to people.
There's another one close by. What's it called? Studio actually went there.
How's Owen? Yeah, fantastic college. Brilliant. I know some guys there. Really fantastic college. They produce superb chefs. Some great resources, and the guys there do a fantastic job. I think, the scale of what we've got here is really one of our strengths alongside our standards. So for many years, we were very lucky to have some really savvy and astute leadership, governance, which gave us the resources and facilities to be the best, with that investment, with that building up what we have. And very few colleges have what we've got 4 or 5 floors here of kitchens, bakeries, restaurants, specialist kitchens in sugar work, specialist kitchens in competition. We've got a pastry kitchen. There's just so much here. But I think coupled with that, the standards that we instill, not just in our students, but in our staff, in our support, in the maintenance, in the cleanliness, the production. Yeah, I'd confidently stand up and say we're right up there. But, I'm biased. I've always loved teaching. I miss teaching in my day-to-day job. But I like now being in a strategic position where I can help the kind of direction in which we're doing that teaching, or help the standards in which we're delivering that teaching.
If you could give one piece of advice to anyone who's looking to come here, I mean, you said they can come at any age, it doesn't have to be part of the school leaving thing, but anyone who's looking to come here and start in the industry, what piece of advice would you give them? Just
turn up, just be present. Attend your classes, attend your sessions, be engaged, listen, learn, use all the resources, use all the facilities. Be a sponge. Just sponge as much as you can. Listen to your lecturers, work with your lecturers, ask questions, go the extra mile. We can deliver X amount of what you need to learn. You need to go out and learn the rest, read the magazines, watch the programs, watch the videos, listen to the podcasts, research about chefs, learn about different things. I always say to students, just walk through the door. We'll do the rest. Just be here, be present. Enjoy what you do. Be a part of hospitality. Buy into it, because it is a fantastic industry, regardless of all the things that are said or portrayed about it. It is a fantastic industry. And enjoy that servient nature of it, and hold on to that regardless of where you go through. Enjoy cooking, enjoy food. Don't look at it as a chore. Not just because we're the Birmingham College Food, but I think because we're in Birmingham as well. We get students from all over the country, all over the world. What a great city to dip your toe into hospitality, or to start your journey in hospitality, and a great city to live.
I asked that question to every chef that we've ever interviewed, and they all say pretty similar. Be like a sponge, be prepared to learn. But then a lot of them, they talk about common sense and how you've either got it or you haven't, and they say it's not teachable. What do you think?
Common sense. You got to have common sense. I always use this example of a student that I had, and we were working in the restaurant. I used to do Monday nights and Friday nights in the restaurant. And he was this kid. He was quite fresh in, and he was probably short of common sense. But he was. And I remember saying to him, "Okay, I need you to put the ratatouille on now." We had ratatouille on dish. I need you to put the ratatouille on. If you go into the walk-in fridge, there's a tub. I want you to get the tub of ratatouille. I want you to put it in a pan and just gently warm it. Okay? Can you do that? Yes, chef. Yeah. Okay, great. Fine. Off you go. So about 10 minutes later, I'm in the kitchen, and then I can really smell burning, like plastic burning. And it's quite a rancid smell. It smells plastic burning. I was like, what's gone on? And he's put the plastic tub of ratatouille in a pan on the stove. And I was just stood there. I couldn't even bring myself to bring it off the stove. I was just stood there staring at it, staring at him and staring at it. And that, that's common sense, or lack of common sense. And even down to things like you might be teaching. So sometimes you have to be really specific in what you say. Say like pastry, for instance, you have to be really specific. It has to be 140 grams of that. It has to be 20 grams of that. It has to be 15 minutes at 180 degrees, whatever. Because it's a science, right? It's a formula. But some things you just have to use your common sense and your nous. So sometimes I'll be there and you'll look over at a student cooking, and this pan will just be like on fire. It'll just be like the duck breast in there will just be like, oh. And you go over and you say, like, take it off. Like, you can see it's burning, but you said to do it, pan fry it for 8 minutes, and it's only been 6 minutes. And that's the challenge. You you have to use your nous a little bit. You have to look at it. You have to feel it. You have to smell it. You have to taste it. You have to feel that heat. You have to look at it. Move the pan, move it around. Okay, if it doesn't say 8 minutes, if it's done in 7 minutes, great, it's cooked. There are exceptions, like I said, certain things that like breads and bakes and things like that take a certain amount of time. But yeah, common sense is a big thing. And often in industry, you'll be working with new chefs. I won't always say young chefs because it might be a new chef, and they'll just stand there. If they're not doing anything, they'll just stand there and just sort of watch you and just wait. And you're like, can you find something to do, like wipe down or tidy something, or just wait, or, use your comment, look at something that needs doing. So yeah, common sense does play a big part in something so vocational. And I think that's across all trades. I remember being told very early on in my career, it is a craft trade that we do. Being a chef is like being a carpenter. I remember this Chef DeVito, he said, it's donkeys years ago, it is like being a carpenter in the same way that a carpenter will know different woods, hardwoods, softwoods. What trees do they come from? Where does it grow? What wood do you use for particular furniture, or what knots do you make, or joints do you make? What tools do you make to use that joint with their hands? They'll feel the wood. You really get involved in the produce, in the material and the tools. And you think about how that's going to create a finished product, have a finished output. It's very much the same with the craft skill of cookery. You look at the produce that you've got, you look at the tools that you've got and what you're trying to ultimately finish, what you want to produce, and you do it with care and attention to detail. It's big, massive for us, attention to detail and some passion and some common sense. And hopefully you'll get either a nice chair or a lovely dish of food, whichever craft it is. But yeah, you can't teach everything to everyone.
Do you know what? Actually, I'm going to tell, because we probably are going to have like a lot of people listening who want to come here. I've only got advice that I've picked up from talking to some of the legendary chefs around the city, like Luke. But I always remember Luke Tippin saying, it's very important just to have that right attitude.
Yeah.
And I'll always remember he said that he was doing an interview and they'd done it in the private dining room at Simpson's, and to get there they had to walk through the kitchen or something, and the person, it was for a commie job, and she was walking in front of him and there was a piece of blue kitchen roll on the floor, and she bent down, picked it up, put it in the bin. He said, stop there, we don't need to do the interview.
Got the job.
Got the job.
100%.
Stuff like that. It's important for like chefs to understand stuff like that.
Luke's brilliant. Great supporter of the college. Fantastic chef. He knows the industry inside out. He's been in it a long time, and he's a really big influence on the city. And he's spot on there. He's absolutely right, and we see it with students here as well. And I see it with people I've worked with or employed or trained in industry as well. And you see it in students, and if they're going along and see something and pick it up, or they'll, I often see sometimes. And I have it with my own OCD as well, but if they're in maybe a dry stores cupboard and they'll turn the spices around the right way and then put it in line and walk, like just instinctively, they'll just see that, put it around and put it in line, or, get tidy. You think, yeah, that's good. You've got it, and making sure their boards are nice and neat and tidy. And it's that attention to detail. Picking up that bit of blue roll was that attention to detail. She saw it was wrong. She saw it was a bit of rubbish. I see it with things like people that instinctively wash their hands or use a foot pedal on a bin, or they know what they need to do, but they're thinking around it as well. So they're thinking about the food safety. They're thinking about the health and safety. They're thinking about the ergonomics or the logistics or the processes to get to where they want to be. And that's a mindset. And so those people you can teach. And Luke obviously looked at that person and thought, I can teach you because you got it.
You don't need talent to do any of that stuff.
I'm sure if they walked past that blue and he kicked it under the counter, Luke could be like, good luck.
So we've done an hour and that's gone really fast. Is there anything that you feel like we've missed? Or
no, I mean, it is fantastic to chat with you guys, and it's a huge honour to come on to this.
It's an hour.
I've listened to. I know we said before, I've listened to it for a long time, and I thought, how do you get onto that? But just to be invited to speak about the Birmingham hospitality scene, and the college food it's a great honour. I love talking. I'll keep talking for hours. Time has flown. I think if people are watching this, appreciate what's going on in Birmingham, appreciate that hospitality scene, be a bit more understanding when you do go out for a meal. If prospective students coming here to study, like I said, just be present, get engaged, get involved, be here. Long may it continue.
Awesome.
Definitely. So we always finish with Carl just kind of just doing some random get to know you better kind of questions.
What's your favourite TV show?
Favourite TV show? Oh, good shout. Old school. I've always loved The Office, Ricky Gervais in The Office.
Yeah,
It just cracks me up. It reminds me, because he's a Reading boy and it's based in Slough and he talks a lot about things in Reading. Love The Office. Yeah.
That's a good answer. I used to love that. I remember when it first came out, people weren't sure if it was real or not.
Yeah.
I remember.
And they played on that a bit.
Yeah, I think they got a good audience.
There's always
off
that debate, is it the American one or the English one? And it's no contest for me.
No, I think the English one's better. I did like the American one after the first series. It got a lot better.
Yeah.
But yeah, the English one, it's still, I even though I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I still sit there.
There's only half
like,
a dozen episodes in the whole thing.
Yeah.
Or a couple of short series. I could watch it again. It's always a Christmas one for me as well.
Yeah, but it's so cringy. I still put my hand over my eyes and I'm like,
it's coming.
Don't do it. It still does it. What's your favourite movie?
Good question. I'd probably have to go with The Godfather. It's old school. Me and my old man used to always watch it.
Do you have a favourite band or artist?
Oh, another good one. If anybody who knows me from back in Reading, they'd always say Oasis. I've always been a big Oasis fan. I was working in in-store bakery in Asda. I'd been 14, 15.
Yeah.
And definitely Maybe just came out. And the lads in the bakery had it. Listen to this album. It's brilliant. Put definitely Maybe on. And Oasis.
Do you have a cookbook you'd recommend to anyone?
Ooh, different ones for different reasons. Professionally, there is the Practical Professional Cookery, Cracknell and Kaufman, which is kind of the seminal text of professional cookery, lays out all the standardized recipes, which is brilliant. And for a cook, for a chef, that's kind of the Bible, if not that, or the Repertoire de la Cuisine, which is they're kind of professional cookbooks, right? I'd love to say something like Delia or something like that, which is just good wholesome cookery. I've got some lovely cookbooks like Gordon Ramsay 3-Star or Sat Bain's Too Many Chiefs, Not Enough Indians. I think there are coffee table cookbooks which are beautiful and they're glossy and they have very elaborate and beautiful recipes in. Then there are those that just do really good solid recipes. If anything, for young aspiring chefs, get Practical Professional Cookbook.
Could just like your average home cook get that and get some?
Yeah, I mean, you could go on Amazon and buy Practical Professional Cookery, and you could make that. There is ingredients and terminology and expectations that a certain amount. So, I think if you went into something like Delia, or if you went into something like BBC Good Food, or if you went on, it's kind of layman's terms. Do this, put that there, put this with that, do that in this order. Something like Practical Professional Cookery, there's an expectation in the language and the terminology that you still get it. But it's out there.
Do you have a favourite big fast food chain?
McDonald's fries are better than Burger King fries.
That's definitely.
I suppose my favourite, is it fast food? I don't know if it's fast food. My favourite chain is Pizza Express. I love a Pizza Express. For a standardised high street brand.
Yeah.
You always, it's always there. It's always on point. So in terms of maybe a brand or a chain, that's pretty much, I'd go with that.
I think Marcus Waring said that. He was asked what his favourite pizza place was in London, and he said Pizza Express.
I mean, you go in there, always have pretty much the same, get a beer, you get your pizza, get garlic vegetables, whatever. And it's just nice, it's comforting. Like you said about feeling, it's warm.
What's the best dish you cook at home?
Oh, another good one. Crikey. We cook so much. I think there's always this expectation that, the kids will eat Michelin star food, but they don't. Believe me, they don't. If anything, one thing I always love doing and spending hours doing is just a good roast dinner.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the time it takes. I could spend, and I rarely do it more so these days with the challenges and the demand of my role, the amount that I invest in this role and the amount of time I spend here and in this role and how demanding that is. I spend less and less time cooking at home, and few and far between is a chance to do a roast dinner. But when I do get opportunities to just go in the kitchen, the radio goes on, bottle of red or something.
Thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah, and just, really spend that time doing it. You get a great sauce on, you really work on your roast potatoes. And then I think people always say, how do you bring it all together? Maybe it's that training, getting it all together on the plate, with a tidy kitchen, everything in the dishwasher. That's always my aim. Plates of food, all done, kitchen's tidy, dishwasher's on, boom, out. Because you don't have to come in and do it afterwards.
And other than Birmingham, what's your favourite food destination in the world?
I had a great trip to Milan recently. we entered a fantastic competition, entered some students into a competition called Zest Quest Asia with Cyrus Toddywaller, Steve Monkley, and an absolute legend, Murray Chapman. It was Asian food. It was 3 students that we entered. They won a prize to Milan on this kind of food tour. We went with some other chefs, some other students. What a city! It's a fantastic city. Some of the markets there, some of the food halls, like pure risotto restaurants. It was great. Really, really good food in Milan.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Well,
awesome. Thanks, Chef.
thank you very much.
It's been
Cheers.
absolutely my pleasure. I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you.